Louisville's already had an up and down season after only 2 games, getting blown out by Syracuse and then winning a close one in a tough environment down at UCF. However, head coach Scott Satterfield is 2-0 against Mike Norvell, and I doubt that he's eager to lose his perfect record. Let's start by taking a look at Louisville's offense. This play does a good job of encapsulating what Louisville wants to do. A little pre-snap motion gives some eye candy for the Syracuse defenders to have to adjust to on the fly. Then this pistol set makes it difficult for Syracuse defenders to key a pre-snap running direction. Louisville's base play is outside zone. In outside zone, these offensive linemen will be stepping horizontally to the line of scrimmage to try to beat their defender to the outside. This horizontal movement spreads out the defense and opens up rushing lanes. Once they're able to establish the run, it opens up the play-action passing game. This is just a play-action with a dig route to take advantage of this dropping cornerback. But the play that can be really dangerous in this offense is the play action off the outside zone. Here you can see the horizontal movement by the offensive line and running back are drawing the linebackers to the short side of the field. This opens up a lot of space for wide receivers to get open on the other side of the field. There's also the added bonus of getting their quarterback Malik Cunningham out in space. Last year he proved to be one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the country. However, Louisville's biggest problem this year is that they haven't been able to get the run going, and a lot of that has to do with how teams played them. Syracuse was okay with bringing a lot of pressure. In fact, they blitzed on 50% of the snaps in the first game against Louisville. You can see these extra blitzers really clog up the running lanes. And for the most part, Syracuse could get away with it because they have some of the best corners in the ACC who were able to lock down the Louisville receivers one-on-one throughout the night. And for the most part, in Louisville's next game, UCF was able to copy that strategy. They played a lot of man free, which utilizes man across the board and rolls one of the safeties down into the box for run support. All this blitzing has also made it tough on the passing game. So far, Louisville's the 6th most blitzed team in the country, and as a result, they have the 114th worst sack rate out of 131 teams. However, what's kind of odd is their average time to throw and their time to pressures allowed aren't bad, which tells me their offensive line probably isn't the problem. Either Cunningham is having trouble anticipating routes coming open, which is a possibility because he hasn't lived up to his preseason expectations through 2 games, or because his wide receivers aren't getting open. Cunningham has had to deal with a lot of receiver turnover over the past 2 years, and this year it doesn't seem like he has a Tutu Atwell or Tyler Harrell to dump the ball off to. And while transfer Tyler Hudson is taking up some of that slack, it still seems to be a weak spot on Louisville's offense. This will make for an interesting matchup against FSU, where the weakest part of their defense is their corners. So much so that they decided to stay in a 2-high shell, which keeps 2 safeties back in coverage instead of 1, risking giving up yards to the extremely athletic Jaden Daniels in order to help shut down LSU's talented wide receivers. I think if Florida State decides to do this, it'll allow Cunningham more room to get some offense going with his legs. However, if FSU can get away with rolling a safety in the box as a spy or an extra blitzer, it could go a long way in shutting down Louisville's offense. Now let's talk about the defense. So far, Louisville's played 2 mobile quarterbacks who aren't exactly known for their passing abilities. And for the most part, they've returned the favor by being a very blitz-heavy team and trusting their corners in one-on-one matchups on the outside. But even with the box loaded, Louisville's been rather vulnerable in the running game. Here these linebackers freeze on a simple counter, which opens up a pretty decent run on first down. This has led to them having the 9th worst success rate on rushing plays in the country. Although this should be taken with a grain of salt as they faced 2 formidable rushing attacks. If I were to guess, Louisville's going to try to go back to where they found success against Florida State last season. Last year they didn't have to bring blitzes to get pressure on Florida State's quarterback. Here only 3 guys get immediate pressure on 3rd and 11. If they're able to do that, that makes life a lot harder on Jordan Travis. But by early indications, Florida State's offensive line has improved as they were able to mostly keep Jordan Travis clean against a very talented LSU defensive line. The strength of their defense is probably their coverage, although it's hard to tell this early in the season. Early on, they have the 59th best passing efficiency against them, but again, that was accomplished against 2 quarterbacks who are more known for their legs than their arm. Based on early season indications, Florida State looks like the better team on paper. They should be able to run the football, and Louisville's offense hasn't looked spectacular through 2 games. However, football isn't played on paper. The game will be in Louisville on a Friday night, and Norvell will be going off a coach who he's 0-2 against. Last season, Florida State struggled against mobile quarterbacks, and although they have a new linebacker room, it's questionable on whether or not that's changed. Plus, you can never count Louisville out as long as Malik Cunningham is quarterback. Although he's had a rocky first 2 games, his second half almost single-handedly beat UCF. And if he continues that momentum, he could get Satterfield's offense going, which is a dangerous thing. I think this will be a tough, gritty game, and it'll be one where both teams will have an opportunity to show what they're really made of. Thanks for watching. I'd love to hear more of your thoughts on the matchup in the comments below. Also, I didn't cover the personnel much, so if you want to hear more about that, you should check out the Knoll Thy Enemy podcast on the On the Bench podcast feed. If you liked this, make sure to like and subscribe, and check out more on Knowles247. Thanks.